Hi everybody. Today I want to talk about basswood. Basswood is a hardwood tree that I actually had quite a lot of this winter and cut quite a lot. So I am going to start this video by going back to this winter, and here I am cutting a big old basswood tree and skidding it out with today I have Buck and Ken, and so we're going to skid this tree out and we're going to continue on the process of how I go about logging basswood, sawing basswood into lumber, and then what I go to even upgrade the lumber into either a shiplap or a tongue groove product that I sell. So let's see how this goes. You probably noticed when I cut the tree down it had an awful lot of rot in it, so I chose to cut about 2 feet off the butt to make a better log. So here I got Brenda to help me today, and we got 2 teams and we were hauling the basswood home. I do have a little bit of ash in here also, but it's all headed back to my sawmill. Basswood and ash are 2 species that a lot of people will really get confused. The way their bark looks, it's very easy to confuse them. They both look a lot alike, but there is a huge difference between the 2 woods. Nice job. So here we are in the sawmill, probably a couple weeks later, and it is a rainy day. The snow's
pretty well all gone, and we're into mud everywhere. And off to our right is the pile of basswood that I have to saw up. There's a little bit more out beside the barn where I'm going to go right now and pick up. But I apologize for the moisture on the lens from the rain, but that's just what happens sometimes. So we'll get a deck loaded and then we will start sawing. So Brenda's already started edging. Brenda's been running the edger for quite a while now, and she really enjoys it. Sometimes we'll edge together, which obviously makes it a lot faster. But she actually likes to edge alone, and she can take her time and do a good job. And she usually puts 2 pieces through, and then walks around and takes care of everything. We have a rack just outside the door where we put our edgings, but it's full. I need to band it up and get it out of here. And a lot of times on rainy days, we will actually put the edgings inside. So from here on, she will just put the edgings inside on these 6x6s, and then the finished board goes right over there.
Hi everybody. So now we have the lumber sawed. Not all of it, of course, but just a portion of it that I wanted to show you. And I want to show you in my sawmill building. We were able to get all the lumber cleaned up and stickered up, and see these are all basswood over to our right, all the way down through, that we have all stickered and banded, so they'll dry, air dry for a while, and then they'll go into the dry kiln. The last thing I was sawing was some tamarack for an order. That's why I have tamarack over there and even here. But I want to show you the lumber up close on the basswood and explain a few things. This morning, you'll see I have a lot of clothes on. It's, I don't know, a week or so after we did that sawing, I think, and it's turned back into winter. It was, I think, 10 degrees this morning and snow, and it feels terribly cold again. Okay, I want to explain a few things about basswood. When you're sawing basswood, and this is actually the way it is with a lot of hardwoods, your outside wood, in other words, the first couple boards that you slice off, is usually your more of the white wood, and which is more the desirable wood in most species. That's the way it is with basswood. So this is one of the boards that came off one of those first cuts. And you'll see that there are hardly any knots on this board. There's a little knot right here that when I flip it over is going to show up more as a knot. But this is a nice clean board. This 8-inch board is also another beautiful board. There is not a single knot in it on this side. We flip it over and there's still not a single knot in it. So this lumber here, this clear wood like this, is very good for trim work in a house. Like this could be ripped down to 1 by 3.5 or 1 by 4s for going around windows and doors. There's also other uses for it, and I'll show you later on about that. So with basswood, it actually goes in quite a ways with this white wood on some really nice trees, the big trees especially. But then as you go deeper into the log, then you get down into what I had always called the heartwood. So as you go down deeper into the wood, you end up with more brown in the wood. More knots, more brown. So here is a board right here that on the one side, we're getting a knot there, some brown through here, another knot down here at this end, and you flip it over and it's even more visible with these dark browns through here. So this brown wood is actually very unique and it looks really nice. So what I do quite often with this wood, which would actually be a very low value wood, but if this is planed down and made into tongue and groove, it makes for beautiful interior walls. This is not a type of wood that works very well outside because it doesn't take the moisture that well. But for interior, it does wonderful. Now, I've put this on quite a few places in our house and other people's houses, and I've got a couple pictures of that, and I'll show you in our house where I've done it. But also, actually, my horse barn ceiling is all done out of basswood. This is the wood and how it looks as you continue down through the wood. Here's some more of actually your poorer quality stuff, which is still very unique on a wall. And here another board with a bunch of knots in it. So this just looks great inside a wall, on interior walls. And I'll show you that as we go along. So now that our lumber is all sawed into boards, we will either bring it into our dry kiln directly after it's been sawed, or we will let it air dry for a while and then bring it in. So this is our dry kiln, and this is a little bit of lumber I'm putting in here now. We will stack it up quite high, I don't know, 20 tiers high or so. Then this is a kiln I've shown before to you, powered by my outdoor furnace, and that Modine heater brings the heat in, and then I had a dehumidifier and a fan to blow through here to dry the wood up. So as soon as this is dry. This will be one more batch that is ready to go through our planer. And then here we are at our planer. This is a Logasol planer, and it is a 4-sided planer. We have the main planing knives. This is the bottom one, and this is the top one. And then there's a head here and a head here. And these are for the different blades, if you want it tongue and groove or shiplap or whatever you choose to do. I have, what I use mostly is these shiplap blades or the tongue and groove, and I also have a V-groove pine or V-groove blades that I have used before on basswood. And I will show you how they come out, and we'll start the plane up and run a couple boards through so you can see what the finished product is. Okay, I've just grabbed these 4 boards just to give you an idea of what we're talking about. So these are 4 boards, and 2 of these boards, this one here and this one here, of course, aren't very good because the major cracked out that end. But it still gives you an idea of what this basswood looks like. So you can see the brown here on this piece here, and when we flip it over, it's even more brown. And of course, this is not a very good example in a way because of the split down there, but most of the time you don't have those splits. Most of the time it's good all the way to the end. But as they dry, they do split a little bit, like right here. So there'll be times where lumber has to be cut off and that piece will be thrown away. These next 2 pieces are almost clear. You can see that one knot right there in the center of the board. You flip it over, it's not even visible there on this side. This one here, you see nothing, it's clear. And it's just a nice board. This board here has a little brown on it, not too much. So anyways, when people do this and make this shiplap lumber, it's kind of like an artistic form. I mean, you have to make it to what works for you, what you like. Sometimes they won't use any of the clear wood at all. They'll just use the darker colored wood, and it slides right together nicely. And it's a nice tight fit. And then you have this, say for example, this one here, that slides right in place also. So you have that look. And of course, a lot of times, like I said, they'll just use just the brown wood for walls and leave this clear wood for trim work in their houses. I do a lot of tongue groove, which is completely different. Maybe I have a piece over here. Probably most everybody knows what tongue and groove is anyways. Here is a pine tongue and groove. This was just a piece I had used, random piece I used to go through to adjust my tongue and groove, and these are accurate because this tongue here should be right in the dead center. And then on the other side is the groove that tongue of the next board will slide into. And those, most people prefer the tongue and groove. And then they would set it up and then put their finish nail into the tongue, and it's hidden. When the next piece goes over it, you don't ever see any nails. To me, that's a lot more work. And I don't mind the nails, so when I've used this shiplap, of course you can't do that way with shiplap. So I just pull them right tight together, and I just nail them with finish nails, and I don't worry about the nail. So I want to go into our kitchen now and show you a few things as to how we use this in our kitchen. So let's do that now. So here we are in our kitchen, and these 2 walls are basswood shiplap. And Brenda wanted these 2 walls white. so she painted them white. But what we did is we left a space in between each board, so that's just the look we kind of wanted. So the shiplap is still showing underneath, and that's the way we did that. On this wall over here, we decided to have a offset wall, I guess what she called it. And so I put this up. There's some basswood in here, there's some pine, there's some hemlock, there's some red pine, a little bit of everything in that wall. Now over here, another thing I wanted to show you, this is also all basswood, is I used the V-groove tongue and groove. Well, the tongue and groove, how would you say it? V-groove pine is what people call it, but it's actually basswood. But it's tongue and groove, but it's also V-groove. That's what this V is. I'm not sure exactly what the official name for it is, but it's just tongue and groove, but one side is V-groove and the other side is smooth, as if on a regular tongue and groove. So that's what we did with our basswood in here. A friend of mine had bought a bunch of basswood and I had shiplapped that. I think I shiplapped it, might have tongue and grooved it for him. But anyways, I want to show you a few pictures of one of the walls in his house that he left natural. It really looks nice. And of course, if you've seen any of my videos, or most all my videos show this barn, and the ceiling on this barn is basswood. My friend Justin helped put the ceiling up, and we just used we used a nail gun, but we had big heads on the nails to hold this and support it since it's a ceiling. Generally, we would have used on walls, we would have used finishing nails so the nails aren't so visible. But in here, we weren't quite going so much for beauty as practicality, but I'm pleased with it. I think it turned out really well the way it is. So I have one more thing I'd like to show you that we did years ago with our basswood lumber. This was before I had my planer, and we are down at our cabin down on our sleigh ride trail. And what we chose to do is use the basswood for the ceilings and the interior walls. So here we are inside of our cabin, and as you can see, all the walls, all 4 walls, have basswood for the interior walls. And also the ceiling itself is all out of basswood. Now this basswood, what I did for it is I actually sawed it 1/2 inch thick, and then I put in what is called reverse board and batten. And it's also not only reverse board and batten, but it is horizontal board and batten. Most board and battens are run up and down. And so as you can see right here, if you look, because another thing we did is put this up really dry, really green. It was just fresh right off the tree. We put it right up. And so we knew it would have a lot of shrinkage. So we put it tight together. But before we did, we put a 4-inch piece of batten behind it. So as it shrunk, the batten would still show and it would still have coverage. There are a few spots that the gap got quite large, and there's actually a couple spots where it's actually the batten wasn't just perfect, and so there's a gap there. But overall, we've been very pleased with how this came out. It was a very inexpensive product for us at the time, and even now it could be a very inexpensive product for somebody if they choose to go this way. So anyways, I was glad I was able to show you some of the things that we do with our basswood lumber. Basswood lumber on the commercial market is a difficult thing to sell sometimes, and it doesn't bring a lot of money. So by doing this added value stuff to it, it puts more money in my pocket, and so it benefits us better by doing that. So anyways, I hope you enjoyed this little video, and if you've got any questions, please put it in the comments below. If you're liking our videos, hit the like, and even if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe, because that way you'll be notified. And if you hit the bell, you'll be notified on oncoming videos that will show you what we do here on our farm and in the woods. So I hope you have a great day. Bye now.